Hello, my name is Ksenia. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a short vlog and book recommendation list for spring. Spring for me is about rebirth, transformation, bringing dreams and goals into physical reality, taking the first steps to doing something really new. I find it the best time to make resolutions instead of the middle of the winter around New Year's. Right now, when I see the daffodils blooming and all the spring bulbs bursting out of the bare ground, I'm inspired to start this YouTube channel, which is a big challenge for me as a person who does not understand technology well. But with that burst of energy and that desire to change my identity into one that is a bit more open with the world. I want to share my life. I want to share the books that I love. This is the perfect time, and the books that I will share with you are perfect for all of those things. I think they fit the subject and the theme very well. Every morning I write in my journal. I light a candle sometimes for the beautiful smell, the sunlight on my desk. I use little stickers to decorate it. I no longer think about whether it's childish or frivolous to do these things. They bring me back into my body, into embodiment, into enjoying all of my senses. Here I'm using my favorite fountain pen, and I write about seeing the daffodils. I write about my plans for the garden. I write about my plans of sharing things with you guys and this channel. I hope that the books that I share will inspire you, will be something that you've never heard of, or maybe you've heard of but forgot, and it's in your very long to be read list. So let's get started. The first book I'm going to recommend is 10 Poems to Set You Free by Roger Houston. He includes 10 poems by different authors, including David Whyte, Jane Hirshfield, Miguel de Unamuno, Rumi, Mary Oliver, Stanley Kunitz, and quite a few others. And he reflects on each poem, and they're just beautiful. His reflections enhance my reading of the poems so much, and every poem is just filled with so much inspiration to live life to the fullest, to not care what other people think, to discover your purpose, to live with authenticity and vulnerability and attention to the everyday in a way that makes it extraordinary. I just discovered him this year, actually, in a random poetry book lot that I got, and I had to get all of his books after that because he is a person who just knows how to word things really beautifully and make ideas concrete enough that you're just like, oh, that's what I was thinking, and that's how I should live, and that's how I want to live. And it's a focus on beauty, a focus on spirituality in a way, but a universal spirituality. So this is the first book. The second book is more about the transformation and discovering identity, rediscovering identity. The author, Dominique Browning, she lost her job in 2007, and she decided to really reevaluate her priorities. She ended up leaving a relationship of 7 years or more, I don't remember, and moving to a more rural place and discovering gardening and just really learning how to love the slow unfolding of life. It's called Slow Love, and it's a really beautiful book. She writes with such wit and humor, and self-reflection, but in a way that doesn't get like heavy and tedious because it's so humorous, and it's also very deep. It was a really lovely find this spring that I read. I would highly recommend it. The third book is Spring by Carl Uwe Nausgaard. This is the second book of his I read, and he is an international author living in Norway, I think, or Sweden. Norway. And it's translated from Norwegian, and his style of writing is very much stream of consciousness kind of writing, like Prussian in a way. But at the same time, it is very like the level of attention he brings to every detail, to his feeling. It's very introspective, but also he has beautiful descriptions of nature, of witnessing other people, of thinking about this his daughter. This is actually part of a series of 4 books that he's writing for his fourth child, his unborn daughter, and it's just I don't know. I can't put words to it. There's so many good things to it. Let me see if I can find a quick quote. Oh, here he's reflecting on a moment where he was a bit overwhelmed and he had all his children to take care of. His wife wasn't feeling well, and he's thinking, I can't take any more. I had thought then. It was over in a few minutes, and it helped. The insurmountable once again seemed surmountable. Neither you nor your siblings have ever seen me cry. I am the strong one, you feel, as children always feel about their parents. And it is, so I have thought, absolutely essential that you continue to feel this way up until the point when, as teenagers, you begin to sense your own strength, when all my weaknesses will become apparent to you. Then you'll be strong enough to take it. And then, if you have children of your own, it will begin all over again. It was overall just a beautiful read. I'm looking forward to reading summer and winter. The next book is a book of essays called Upstream by Mary Oliver. She's a poet, and her prose is just so poetical, so juicy, so gorgeous. And she writes a lot about writing. She writes about creativity in general and how to make our ordinary lives, in a way, extraordinary. This quote really stood out to me. No one yet has made a list of places where the extraordinary may happen and where it may not. Still, there are indications among crowds in drawing rooms, among easements and comforts and pleasures. It is seldom seen. It likes the out of doors. It likes the concentrating mind. It likes solitude. It is more likely to stick to the risk taker than the ticket taker. It isn't that it would disparage comforts or the set routines of the world, but that its concern is directed to another place. Its concern is the edge, and the making of a form out of the formlessness that is beyond the edge. She reflects on the poets and the writers that influenced her. She loves Whitman. He's like the friend she carries in her pocket. She loves Poe and Wordsworth. And overall, these essays, don't let the word essays intimidate you, because they're so full of soul and depth and beauty that they don't read in any kind of heavy way. They're very, very easy to read, very digestible, very beautiful. And this is actually my second time reading them because I just remember the kind of joy they gave me last time. So highly, highly recommend. The next books are more about the things we do in spring. So I actually read books on walking. Yes, walking. After being stuck indoors for so many months in the winters here are very cold and lots of snow. I really look forward to walking again. And these 2 books, they make me enjoy it so much more because they explain just how much walking forms our identity in a way, our relationship with the world, our closeness to the world, our ability to think. This book talks a lot about how we are much more creative when we walk, because our different parts of our brain start to get connected to each other in a different way, and we're more capable of making breakthroughs in our creative practice. And this book too, by Erling Cage, he also has a really beautiful book on silence that I'll mention at some point. And next I also have some nature books. This book is a classic of its own. She didn't create it for publication, surprisingly enough. The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. Oh, the photos, what am I saying? The handwriting and the drawings are just so breathtaking. Like whenever I pick it up, I just want to go outside and draw. It's kind of like a diary of like what blooms when, but they're also really beautiful poems. There are also quotes of all kinds about appreciating nature and what she witnessed on different days. Oh, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. As an artist, this is like eye candy of the best variety. The next books are also about nature. Dancing with Bees. It seems like, how could you write a whole book about bees? But it's about so much more than that. It's about seeing nature on a minute, small level. It's about appreciating every aspect of living close to the natural world. I can imagine her crawling around with her little camera trying to photograph all kinds of different bees and bumblebees. And we're often scared of bees and bumblebees. We think that they're going to sting us. And we have this kind of, as a city person, I remember that I was a little bit like intimidated by being around them much. But after reading this book, I understand just how much they are necessary for us and how much we owe to these little flies that pollinate our chocolate, to the bumblebees that can actually grow extinct because of this new revolutionary group of pesticides called neonicotinoids, neonics for short, and how they're neurotoxins that attack insects' central nervous systems, and how we just don't know how important these little creatures are for our everyday existence, for the food that we eat. It encouraged me so much more to go organic, to be more attentive to what I can do to support these critters. Like if you live in the city, even having a little bit of flowers on your back patio or something can help them between stops of where they're traveling, can help them find something to feed themselves so they can actually survive, you know. It's a beautiful book. It's a really beautiful book. And the last book is by May Sarton, Plant Dreaming Deep. She's one of my favorite authors. I read all of her journals, except the last one. Yeah, the last one I didn't read. But she talks about so many things in this book. I don't even know where to start. It's a bit about gardening too, but more about paying attention to the beauty of life, the beauty of growing roots in the place where you live, watching light stream across your room. Let me read you this quote. Did I mark it? I have so many annotations. So many annotations. Oh yes, this quote is on light. Just watching the light in your room. what more is like a symbol of spring than the amount of sunlight we have? The way that it rejuvenates our whole body. And here she's like, the light here is magic. Even after all these years, it still takes me by surprise, for it changes every hour of the day and with every season. In these first days, it was a perpetual revelation, as sunlight touched a bunch of flowers or a piece of furniture and then moved on. Early in the morning, I watched it bring alive the bronzed gray of the bird's eye maple of mother's desk in my study, and make the flowers in the wreaths suddenly glow. In the afternoon, when I lay down for an hour in the cozy room, I saw it dapple the white mantelpiece and flow in waves across the wall there. And when I went into the kitchen to make tea, there it was again, lying in long, dazzling rectangles on the yellow floor. This flowing, changing light plays a constant, silent fugue. But in those first days, I still had to learn how different the music is as the seasons come and go. She moved to this house for the first time. She was a writer who lived in cities most of the time, but she moved to her first rural home, and she talks about establishing it, getting used to the feeling the seasons much more vicariously because she's so involved with them in every step of her life, of her daily routine. And also growing a garden, of course, and writing, and solitude versus aloneness, which is a topic I keep thinking about and returning to. And just so much more. I would highly recommend her as an author. Her journals are just so beautiful, and I will probably be talking about them a lot more in future videos. So that's it for this video. I hope that you pick up one of these books and let me know what you think. Or please tell me your other recommendations. What do you read in the spring? Who do you keep rereading in the spring? Do you have the book that you reread every spring? I think that's a really cool habit to have, to reread the same book in the season and see how differently you see it from season to season, from year to year, every season. I'll probably be doing a summer and an autumn and a winter one now that I'm more of a seasonal reader. Till next time, bye.